His nostrils flared as his chest burned for the lack of oxygen. As he drew closer to their screams, his breathing increased, his adrenaline now fired, stilled by habit from hunting wild beasts. He who had defeated lions and charging bulls now faced an attack on his own. He faced man. He faced man unsatisfied with his inheritance, unsatisfied with his portion, unsatisfied with peace. Within the screams he heard his woman, his daughter, his son. His path was straight. His heart poured into his legs to run as eagles fly, a warrior, yet warrior of love. Never before had he raised his hand or even voice to another man in unkindness, but as his sight parted the thicket and his tiny village came into view, his love vanquished his humanity and he became possessed. By all who live in harmony, he inherited love's fury. As he sprinted, his right hand lifted his spear, driving it through the watchman, the lookout for iniquity. Before the watchman suffered knowledge of his impending death, the spear had severed it from him, piercing his chest below the shoulder, cutting his heart after crush of bone. Then, with the grace of death's servant, he leapt and shattered the skull of the second man. The wounded beast cried in agony as he fell across the warrior's daughter, his blood now spilling across her. She cried in agony from the humiliation and pain inflicted, and in relief for its end as he lost his grip on life. No time for consolation now. He was too close. The warrior now approached his hut. As he entered its relief from the searing sun, he looked to the right to witness the third attacker, unclothed and covered in the blood of his wife, beginning a turn towards him. His weapons were love's bitter separation. He carved his path behind the man's kneeling posture. He planted his left knee in the middle of the man's back just below his neck. Then with his left hand gripped the man's hair and with his right his chin. Instantly his soul descended into darkness as the snap of his neck announced his arrival. Yes, first with spear, then stone, and now bare hands. He separated these men, these beasts, from life. He threw the man into a heap toward the hut's entrance and turned to the chilling form of love's only cup. Her life separated from her, from him. He leaned to hear her soul depart. Above her bloodied skin, mixed with the sweaty stench of her attacker. No longer would these eyes smile into his soul. No longer would these lips meet his in gentle embrace. No longer would he hear his name pronounced from her inner sanctum. He held her limp form and wept. The hunter of food, now warrior of love, cried tenderly beside her grave beneath the acacia trees. No one knew on the day that he buried her why he buried her, attack her beside her. At least not until they watched him cast the spear of his ancestors into the attacker's remains each day. He intended that for as long as he lived, he would punish the deeds of inhumanity, but his bitterness was broken by his son. A son who never knew his mother, but saw within his father a man who must lay the final blow by slaying darkness to love again, to give his son love's inheritance. Warrior of Love by Nadi.